Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and more specifically, welcome back to the Armory. This is where all weapons from Halo lore will be featured and analysed in detail, and in this episode, and I don't know why it's taken me so long to get round to it, we look at the Stalker Rifle. Let's begin. The Stalker Rifle is a more recent addition to the post-Covenant weapons arsenal in that it is designed and developed by the Banished by amalgamating desirable components from both the Covenant's particle accelerator weapons such as the beam rifle and the markedly less common focus rifle. While aesthetically it holds a passing resemblance to the beam rifle, the internal components responsible for projectile manipulation means its ammunition bears a closer resemblance to that of the focus rifle, in spite of firing more akin to the carbine. It is a unique weapon in this regard, as its heritage can be traced to these earlier models, whilst also highlighting the Banished's proclivity to innovate and integrate ex-Covenant technology into their arsenal and seamlessly improve upon it to increase the effectiveness of the weapon for Banished utilization. This again demonstrates the inherent threat posed by the Banished in that they are strikingly more innovative than the Covenant, and thus could quickly increase the technological gap between them and humanity. The Stalker Rifle fulfills a ranged marksman and sniper rifle role within the Banished, and is most often seen sporting a crimson-red nanolaminate housing around a gunmetal interior weapons frame and internal components. Although variants of this weapon are most commonly denoted by a differing housing colour, such as white for the Stalker Rifle Ultra. The weapon was developed by the Merchants of Keycost, with very close input provided by Aatrox's own elite-level Juralhane Stalkers. Special attention was paid to the optics of the weapon alongside the blending of technologies from the beam and focus rifles. Its semi-automatic operation, feed system, rate of fire and range make this a weapon to be actively sought on the battlefield, if not for direct use, but to evade opponents who may be wielding it. The Stalker Rifle measures 134.1 centimeters or 52.8 inches in length, and 37.8 centimeters or 14.8 inches in height, and is thus slightly smaller than both its predecessor designs. The Stalker Rifle's optics possess a 3 and 6 time magnification level that can be automatically toggled through utilizing the native link system. It is this same native link system that allows for numerous optical configurations, enabling the weapon to link to Sangheili combat harnesses, Kigyar marksman sets, and Juralhane Stalker helmet optics, and display tailored optics for each of these respective platforms. The optics display diagnostic information and allow semi-automatic adjustment of the weapon when interlinked with the aforementioned headgear, as well as the weapon's remaining power and accumulated heat level. The internal components of the weapon have been developed from integrating and merging design patterns of both the beam rifle and focus rifle. In particular, the Stalker Rifle possesses a similar weapon frame and feed system as the beam rifle, as well as the same electromagnetic compositors and ammunition supply as the focus rifle. These two hybridized systems means that rather than firing specifically like the beam rifle or focus rifle, it fires in similar fashion to the Covenant carbine in regards to its rate of fire and method of action. However, the actual projectile isn't a particle beam made of ionized hydrogen as with the beam rifle, or a continuous stream of plasma as with the focus rifle, or indeed a single caseless radioactive projectile as with the carbine, but rather fires superheated plasma bolts stretched into lance-like projectiles by the electromagnetic compositors and ejects them from the weapon to extraordinary distances. The Stalker Rifle fires electromagnetically guided plasma likely refined from hydrogen gas. The plasma itself is fed from a 32-volt pulsed power cell in a plasma generator type operation. It is thus assumed that both the hydrogen gas and a powerful energy source are contained within the plasma battery, and the weapon itself uses this energy source to energize the hydrogen gas to the point that it becomes a plasma. The Stalker Rifle is very effective at depleting shields and can severely damage or melt armor plating, and is utterly devastating against organic targets. The bolt's intense heat can cause flash vaporization of organic matter, causing the water contained within the body of the victim to instantly boil off into steam. The process is so rapid that the gases expand at explosive forces, literally blowing the body apart. Even a shot to the extremities can cause what can only be described as a blast injury, where the sudden violent boiling of the bodily fluids can blow the limb off, with the blast injury potentially being directed into the body, eviscerating tissues as it does so. This makes the weapon devastatingly effective against infantry, and its long-range nature and high rate of fire can allow an operator to effectively disable large troop emplacements, while also being out of range of most counterattacks. The impact to the morale of surviving troops would likely sap any desire to continue fighting. The Stalker Rifle is not without its disadvantages, however. The bolts fired by the weapon are extraordinarily visible. Firing the weapon immediately reveals the user's position, and whilst the weapon does have an ability to vent its own accumulated heat, if the weapon is fired too quickly without enough time to cool between volleys, the weapon will overheat and it will automatically vent excess plasma, potentially burning the user and rendering the weapon inoperable for several seconds, whilst also depleting the ammunition reserves. On the battlefield, it is rare to find recharge stations for the weapon, so it is widely accepted that once the weapon ammo reserves are empty, it is unlikely the operator is going to be able to find more ammunition, meaning it is better to discard the weapon for practically any alternative. The Stalker Rifle has one known variant, the Stalker Rifle Ultra, which is most immediately recognizable by its lustrous white nanolaminate housing panels, in keeping with the Evocatio or Ultra orders within both the Covenant and the Banished. It has a much higher rate of fire than the standard Stalker Rifle, being able to fire 12 times before overheating rather than around 7 for the regular Stalker Rifle, and this is mainly owed to the fact that each respective bolt is at a slightly lower energy level, translating to less damage and thus less heat per bolt. The weapon makes up for this, however, in having the ability to fire 64 bolts before emptying the power cell, as opposed to 32 bolts from the regular. On top of this, the Stalker Rifle Ultra is seemingly intended to be used at a much closer range, as the optics have been limited to only around 1.5 time magnification via the SmartLink connection suites. The Stalker Rifle is a ranged semi-automatic directed energy weapon that serves as a hybrid or intermediary weapon between the carbine and beam rifle, employing components from the focus rifle to grant it very unique modes of operation. Devastating against unarmoured organic targets and capable of stripping energy shields rapidly at extreme range make it a weapon to be sought after on the battlefield. To be on the receiving end of, however, necessitates the need to close the distance and neutralise the wielder as rapidly as possible, as when intelligently employed at range to aid frontline troops, a skilled operator can be responsible for softening up and neutralising enemy opponents at a startling speed, and can effectively halt large-scale advances in spite of the opponent's arsenal, offensive and defensive capabilities.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider smashing the like button and leave a comment below on what you'd like me to cover next. Big shout out to my patrons, Spartan10148, the Metarch of my installation, Falcon, Prophet Bear, Mikhail, Sophia, and Ashley, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Scarab, Spartan0137, Anthony, Ghost, Aaron, Chris, Jacob, Sean, Element Zero, Somatic, Jordan J3, Dan, Mr. Keys, Directal, Gunslinger, Jacob, Bandmill, Echo, Evermore, Officer Cat, and Personal Devil, my diligent sub-monitors, my fleet of Strato Sentinels, and my loyal enforcers. And all the other patrons who have jumped aboard to support the channel. It means more to me than I can accurately put into words. Another shout out to my Tier 0 Transcendent YouTube members, Spartan137, Jacob, Schmitty, Talia, Fenrir and Born Stellar, and all the other YouTube members keeping my installation running on that glorious vacuum energy. Shout out to John for I don't fucking know. And if you want more of this kind of content, hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you don't miss any future videos, and consider jumping aboard yourself as a patron or YouTube member to keep the channel alive and kicking. Thanks again for watching, take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.